Hey, what's up, folks? It's Jesse with Keeping It Real Finance channel that always has your back and tells it like it is. Well, today's video is going to be all about what is going on in the market. So we've had this huge downturn that suddenly happened. I was really hoping for a blast off. Didn't work out that way. Wanted to talk about why and what's going on, what's happening to all the models out there. Are they being proven wrong? Are they exploding, right? Is the sky falling? I don't necessarily think that's what's happening, but we do have to kind of adapt to what's happening, right? So, a lot of these variables are going on, especially surrounding coronavirus and what's happening with that, how it impacts global markets. And that's what I wanted to talk about in today's video, along with some additional predicting on what could possibly be in store over the next couple of months. So it should be a pretty good video for all of that stuff. If you're wondering what's happening in the market, then this is the video for you, all right? Now, if you enjoyed today's video, make sure to hit the like button. If this is your first time to the channel, make sure to subscribe. And if you click the bell, you'll be made aware whenever I post time-sensitive content just like this. And now, let's get it going. So without any further delay, we're going to get right into the meat and potatoes of this video. So what is causing the latest market dip? Well, the simple answer is the Omicron variant of the coronavirus. Now, why it's doing that is that this variant of the virus has 32 mutations versus the other variants that are somewhere, I think, around 8 to 10 mutations. So it's significantly more, and because of that, it has world markets spooked, all right? Now, why this matters to crypto is that the more the market becomes established, the closer it is tied to those world markets, right? Meaning that those markets go down, it's going to take down the crypto market with it, unfortunately. Now, I would argue that I think that this is a bit of a wrinkle in the latest Bitcoin cycle, mainly because of the institutional and further retail adoption is what's causing this, right? I don't think this was as magnified or as prominent in the past cycles like it is today, all right? Now, adding to that, the reason Bitcoin plummeted overnight, which I was hoping it would be going up this weekend, unfortunately that did not happen. The reason it plummeted was that the 20-day EMA crossed through the 50-day, as seen here on the TradingView chart, which is always a bearish signal. Now, I've said it on this channel many times before, but if you want to follow the crypto market as a whole, you simply need to follow those Bitcoin EMAs, and they kind of dictate everything for what's happening in crypto, all right? Now, I also had noticed that the RSI had peaked and was starting to drop, reminiscent of the roller coaster image that I've got right here in the thumbnail. So it was somewhat evident that we were going to drop further, all right? Now, we also really hadn't had any volume that is essential in order to make large moves upwards. In other words, we really need volume plus supply shock makes it go upwards, right? Now, I've wondered about what the implications are for like a lack of volume for quite a while. So Plan B's floor model, this is not stock to flow, this is a different model, his floor model was basically just annihilated in November, all right? Where it had predicted a 98K floor, which Plan B even admitted to in this post that it was way off. It's a black swan event, and get this, it was the first time it had missed in 10 years. So that's pretty crazy, right? So did it fall short because everyone was in on his model, therefore we had no volume, therefore the price didn't move? This is one of the thoughts that's kind of been in the back of my head, right? Or was it that his floor model admittedly couldn't account for a black swan event, this Omicron variant? Or was it all of the above, right? So the question is, if we're aware of what we think the future will be, will it still happen? This is kind of what I've been wondering lately, right? Like, if everybody's in on it, was it still going to happen if everyone's in on it? I don't know, okay? Now, personally, I'm kind of glad that his 98K floor model failed, simply because it was obvious in various interviews that he's been doing, like, he's been under immense pressure with these models of his because so much focus has been put on them. So there's probably a little relief for him now, which is a good thing, right? Now, as you know, if you've seen any of my videos before, I'm basically a big believer in historical data, and I do think that there is a high likelihood of patterns repeating, whether it be the Bitcoin cycle itself or simply chart patterns, right? In fact, many coins end up following the charts of predecessors from prior cycles, which, by the way, I do plan to do a video on in the future. An example of this is the Ethereum chart has been very closely following the prior cycle's Bitcoin chart, right? Now, that being said, the prior Bitcoin cycles never had to account for a global market and a global pandemic, okay? So is the 4-year cycle over because of adoption coupled with COVID, or is this just a bump in the road and a potential lengthening of the cycle, right? Now, I wanted to share a great line of posts that I found on Twitter by Crypto Caesar. So big shout out to you, Crypto Caesar. He also has a Discord group that you can sign up for, as well as he even has a YouTube channel that has hardly any followers. So by all means, give this guy a follow. Well worth it, right? Now, he charted trend-based Fibonacci extensions from the bottom to the top of an impulse and then to the bottom, which have historically been able to mark the future top of Bitcoin cycles. So seen here in his chart, you can see the prior cycle peaks, as well as where this cycle should peak per those extensions somewhere around 141,000 for Bitcoin. Now, he also added this chart here showing that the future prediction for the peak of the next cycle would exceed 1 million per Bitcoin, and said he thought this cycle could potentially go into April of 2022. So that's pretty interesting, right? This is the stuff that I really like. Now, could that be not accurate? Yeah, sure. You know, we also had other models that just failed recently. But if it is accurate, hey, that's a lot to go on, right? So, as they like to say on CT, some good hopium, okay? So, where does all of this leave us? Well, first of all, it leaves us that models can be wrong and cannot predict everything. And I think a lot of hate goes to a lot of these guys that chart this stuff all the time. And you can tell they kind of get a lot of hate, and it really gets to some of them, gets under their nerves, right? I get it. But the variables that we're dealing with in this cycle are really like no other before it. So when they're looking at historical data for those prior cycles, they didn't have a global market, they didn't have a global pandemic. So this is definitely a little bit different, right? Now, secondly, the historical monthly performance has been totally blown up, as seen here in my Bitcoin chart, which I even did a video on, where I thought, November was going to be a really good month based off the historical data. Well, that did not turn out to be the case, right? And so in the prior 2 cycles, the month of November returned 470% in 2013 and 54% in 2017. This year, negative 7%. Crazy. Totally didn't deliver, right? So the question is does a market drop due to a coronavirus variant have anything at all to do with cryptocurrency? In other words, is this market drop directly reflective of anything at all with anything involving any cryptocurrency project? Well, the obvious answer here is simply no, it doesn't. So the drop has nothing to do with crypto. Now, that's why, just like with any dip, unless something fundamentally changes with crypto itself, which has not occurred with this dip, each market dip is basically just another opportunity to DCA and buy the dip, right? BTFD. So personally, I don't really think that the bull market is over. But ultimately, if it is, then it's just more opportunity to accumulate for the next run-up, right? So it's also important to remember that the only way you lose is to realize those losses or gamble with money that you didn't have in the first place, in which case you're more so gambling and not investing, all right? So if your strategy is a long-term investor, really you have nothing to worry about here. So now you often hear people on CT talking about how they picked up, something like Cardano at 3 cents or Polkadot at $5 or less, whatever, right? Well, if the run truly is over, then this is your chance to do exactly that. So that's a huge opportunity. Now, on the other hand, if the bull run is still in play, then this could be a good time to load your bags before blast off, right? So on this dip, I have personally picked up Jasmy, I picked up BTT, I picked up CKB, I picked up DOT, I picked up Trace, all right? And I plan to continue to DCA whenever the market is down. That's what I do, all right? So the bottom line is that the market may have gotten a little dippier, but the fundamentals remain strong, including long-term growth potential, staking rewards, and global adoption. So really, we just need some good news on Omicron, and the market will fire back up. In the meantime, keep on accumulating, all right? So that's it for today's video. Hopefully that gives you a clear picture of where we're at. Is there a cause for concern? I really don't think so. If you are investing properly and have a long-term strategy, is there any need to worry? No, not at all. Does anything with the current market downturn have anything at all to do with cryptocurrency in general? No, it doesn't. So when you look at all those things and you add all those things up, you say, hey, this is a pretty good opportunity right here. Now, could the market continue to blast off from here? Yeah, it could. Could the market go down from here? Sure, it could, right? So the bottom line is that there's a lot of opportunity. Does anyone know the future exactly? No, they don't. If we had never had the coronavirus pandemic, would we be blasting off already? Probably. We probably would, unless there was some other global factor that came into play that no one predicted. So you can't predict for everything in these models, but they are a good barometer of looking at those past patterns and seeing if those patterns will repeat in the future. All right, so that's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to hit the like button. Don't forget that I'm also on Twitter at KIR Finance, where you can find me tweeting and retweeting on a regular basis. Check me out there. I've also now got a merch shop. You can check it out at the My Spread shop for KIR Finance. I've got all kinds of shirts, hoodies, mugs, stickers, you name it, with various designs, including stuff from the channel, as well as my NFT series, the LDC skulls, so by all means check those out. And lastly, for a friendly reminder, this is Jesse with Keeping It Real Finance channel that always has your back, tells it like it is, and I will see you on the next one. Later.